Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Heaven on Earth. I'm Michael, the Leo Mystic, and this is where I bring you the sacred mission for this week, the astrological energy update for the 15th until the 21st, the summer solstice of June. And boy, oh boy, it's gonna be a powerhouse. It is already a powerhouse. Are you feeling this energy? We are being put to the test, right? To the test. I think we are definitely being tested by ourselves, if you know what I mean. So hey, by the way, just a quick question. Could you please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like and dig what I talk about? That would be awesome. So the summer solstice is what we build up towards. And that is exactly, it's funny that it's at the end of this week, and the whole week is a preparation for that summer solstice, baby. And this is a very, very important summer solstice because it happens, there's a solar eclipse on the summer solstice, so that means on the 0 degree of Cancer. That in and of itself, a solar eclipse is a new moon on steroids, right? And a new moon is a new beginning. But a solar eclipse, if you think about it, right? So the new moon is a new beginning because the moon is linked to our emotions, and our emotions is the experience for our soul to learn the lessons here on Earth that we come here to learn. And so the moon is hidden at that point. So it's a new buildup of emotions, of learning, and of cycles, and of, if you're emotional, you can bring your passion into it, you can bring, vibration, you can attract. But now, not only the moon is hidden, the moon hides the sun. So there is no solar energy, there's no moon energy, at least the sun energy for a couple of minutes, right? But so that basically means it's a whole new beginning for and the sun energy and the moon energy. And that happens in Cancer. And so this is about Cancer traits, emotional self-reliance. How do you rely emotionally on yourself? Can you trust yourself? Where does that begin? It begins by taking care of yourself. It begins by nurturing yourself, right? And Cancer are emotions. So guess what? This is a new beginning of lessons learned in the home about your self-image, about your family problems and family wishes. And, it's just about so much coming home. And the nodal axis has been there for so long, and will return for just a slight moment. But it's just like as if we had to focus on that Cancerian traits. We've learned how to take care. We've learned, what is needed in the new world today. This past year and a half with the North Node in Cancer. And so we've been focusing so much on it. Now that solar eclipse at the 0 degree, the 0 degree is an urgency. It's just like, pah! It's just like, it happens so instinctively. So the new moon in Cancer is going to be your how would I say, it can catapult you towards the heavens. Poof! It's a very Uranian energy, it's just like explosive. And since it is happening, right, at a solar eclipse, which means on the North Node, it catapults you towards the heavens. And based on your preparatory work of the past months, but especially you get like this last opportunity this week with the preparatory work. And I'm going to talk about what you can do to be prepared for that, on the rocket towards the heavens, or, and you can have like a first class ticket, if you will, or, if you don't listen and if you just keep rebelling, and if you just try to keep fixing the past and try to go back to normal, you will probably be tied with a rope on that rocket, and it's just gonna be nasty because if you're it's just imagine that, anyway, it's gnarly. So, but we started off this week with a moon in Aries squaring Pluto, okay? And that in and of itself is just transformation. There's a need for the warrior. There's a rage, there's an anger, but Mars is in Pisces. So we feel a lot of anger and we feel a lot of rage and we feel like we have to take actions, and these emotions are very fiery, but we can't really take an action because Mars in Pisces is like at an ego perspective. But guess what? Mars to me is one of the main key planets this week because it's starting to square the nodes. So now we have a whole chart, because this is going to be a chart for the whole summer, and in a way you could say this is for me a chart for another chart for the new world. Because let's have a look. In astrology we have personal planets. We have Mars, we have Mercury, we have Venus, Moon, and Sun. And so what that means is these planets are like our very conscious level. So Mercury is how we think, so we can observe our thoughts. It's not like, Neptune or Uranus, which are the subconscious belief systems and thoughts, and Jupiter, which is the truth, and how you explore. So this happens all at a very unconscious level or subconscious level. Mercury and all the other planets are very here in your face and acute. So you notice that. Now what is happening with these planets is very interesting to me, and I don't hear any other astrologer talking about this. That is that we have Venus retrograde, but it ends almost, like, I forgot the date right now, but I think it's the either 22nd of June or 27th of June. Anyway, that it ends its retrograde. But it's very, what's important here is that it's coming at a standstill. And we have Mercury retrograde on Thursday in Cancer. So now we have Mercury standstill, Venus standstill, and the moon is going to come in a dark moon position on Gemini on Venus. Mars is in Pisces, and the sun in a way is wrapping up and is waiting to come outside. Now let me explain what I just explained in an astrological esoteric level, but let me put words to it, which is, by the way, the North Node in Gemini, and which is really important that we learn to do that the next year and a half, is to really explain what we intuitively feel and know and think, but can't really put words to. That's going to be our lesson for the next year and a half. So, with all these, with Mercury and Venus at a standstill, this is really like a snapshot, as if like the world is saying, okay, stop, come to a standstill, and for a moment reflect on Mercury in Cancer, yourself, your self-image, the way you are taking care of yourself right now. But also there's a layer to it where Mercury, being the first planet that came into the Western Hemisphere for months, and which I described, or have been describing, as taking a sneak peek into the new world at a very conscious level, whereas all the other planets and parts in us is just like, waiting for new beginnings. Mercury in Cancer, a very cautious level, coming outside and taking a sneak peek, as if like coming out of lockdown ahead, thinking ahead, right? And seeing, hey, how is it going to be like? Now that's coming retrograde. So it's turning towards a point where the solar eclipse, right, is happening. It's not going to get there. It's going to get to 5 degrees, but it's very close. So now it says like, oh, wait, let me look at what happens there. I need to stop thinking ahead. I need to come here in the present moment and really be aware of what I think and be aware of Venus retrograde, what I feel. Venus too. So this is what's happening, right? In the midst of it all is a solar eclipse at 0 degrees of Cancer. And now we have Mercury at 14 degrees and we have Venus at 5 degrees, and they're all like tearing apart, like it's opening. It's opening the heart, right? Because the solar eclipse on 0 degrees of Cancer. Cancer is the chest. So I feel this is like what has been opening is like the heart has been opening, the chest, like, I want to see what's in your heart. Yeah? And so now, all of a sudden, the opening is at its maximum level. You've opened your heart. You've gone to the subconscious level. You've exposed your emotions, because we have almost all planets in a water and an air sign, which is mental emotional energy, and all the other planets are in Earth, are very destructive of Earth. So Pluto destroys Earth, Uranus, breaks up Earth, and all those things. So this is the analogy. Our chest has been opened, and we've really looked at what is at the core here. And this is not even over yet, right? This is just, that a stage. I bet that we're gonna get some more surgery in the future, and you bet. But now, Mercury and Venus are gonna come towards each other again. Isn't that interesting? And they're all pointing towards that 0 degree solar eclipse. So they're saying, hold on, people. The Mercury already explained, right? But now Venus. And interestingly, right before that solar eclipse, the moon is going to come on Venus retrograde in Gemini. Dark moon on Venus in retrograde. This is so clear to me. This is the wounded feminine looking for love. And by feminine, I don't mean women. I mean the feminine energy, right? Energy. The matter, the feelings, the emotions, the taking care, the nurturing part, the embracing, attractive, magnetic part of us that is wounded and that is looking for answers. And boy, oh boy, have we had not a lot of information and answers? I bet we did. So now we need to feel that. We need to feel the wound. We need to feel where, the exposure of so much, the Black Lives Matter, the 5G, the Corona, the lockdown, and all the information, and that how it has hurt us, and how we've really, how have you dealt with it? What do you believe now? What is your opinion around it? So you're gonna feel where it's like a last check-in on your self-worth, on your value. This is spiritual value, this is monetary value, this is relationships values. So my invitation is this week, because of all those planets that are really saying, come to a standstill, hold for a moment. This is the last week before we take off, baby, into the new world. This is really a time of reflection, especially dark moon is where you go so much inwards. But interestingly, what I want to say also is that all these personal planets, except for Mars, are at the very beginning of the zodiac. They're in Gemini, Sun in Gemini, Moon is, in Aries, Taurus, and Gemini and Cancer this week. This is the very beginning, the beginning of it all. We have Mercury in Cancer. And Venus in Gemini. So this is really, we are at the beginning of everything. But Mars is in Pisces and squaring all of that energy. Isn't that interesting? What that means is Mars is coming at an end. It's wrapping up the wounded masculine. It's wrapping up abuse. It's wrapping up, all the subconscious material that has to rise to the surface, because how Mars is the way we get things, how we do things. So this is about squaring the nodes. It has to happen. We have to bring in the spiritual warrior. We have to bring in unconditional action, unconditional love. It is sextiling Pluto, by the way. So any action that is coming from a truth, from integrity, Pluto in Capricorn, will transform you towards unconditional action, unconditional love. And a spiritual warrior fights, but not against something, but for something. It's not against, it's not like, I need to fight against you because you are wrong. No, I need to fight because I understand that if I don't do this, the world is going to continue the way it has been for thousands of years. And I need to stand up for truth. And that's important to understand. And you can, the spiritual warrior has rage, but can transform it into a compassionate action. I've described many times before how Mary Magdalene does not only carry the baby, but next in the right hand is a sword. It is cutting. It is putting boundaries. And that's why we have a dark moon on Venus in Gemini. This is really, can you choose? Because Gemini is making a choice. Can you choose what your value is going to be? We need to really weigh these options. And my invitation then is to come to a standstill, really reflect, do the preparatory work, and really reflect on, well, where are my boundaries? What are my core values? Do I, choose for a life of quality? Do I choose for the value of integrity? Do I choose for the value of, worshiping? Nah, that's not the, well, I think that's funny that it just rises to the surface. I needed to say worship because this is about faith. Mars in Pisces sextiling Pluto is really about worshiping and about faith, but there's so much pain towards worshiping because it has been abused. But worshiping is actually a very beautiful trait. It is having faith, and it is really surrendering to, and it is by the act of surrendering, it is by the act of stepping into something that you get to see the whole world. So that's why faith in God is so important. Not a God that has been put upon you, but what you have thought for yourself, which is the solar eclipse in Cancer. This is self-reliance. Can you rely on yourself without needing any religion, any person, anything for you to tell how it should be? And that is what faith, devotion, worship is. When it is from the right energy, when it is a spiritual warrior energy where you have discerned for yourself, then that rage, that anger for the injustice in the world can be transformed, can be, goes through the fire, anger is fire, and then you transform it into the hard energy and you just take action because that's what needs to happen through you. And so that's what is really important this week. And that's my invitation for you. And I'm going to leave it at that. And I really want to hear from you how you are doing, how you're taking care of yourself. What are your values? Let's have a dialogue because this is important. This is like a last week to really, because one more thing that I have to add is that Mars squaring the nodes is also semi-squaring Uranus. And that means 2 months ago or 3 months ago, we had sextile Uranus, which is a beneficial aspect. And then I told you, this is a time to cut cords and to, just enjoy a nice ritual where you cut the cords, the spiritual cords. Now it will be done for you if you haven't done it. And it's gonna be you being, you being put on that record, but not within, but on at the exterior with a tight rope underneath you, and the view is gonna be lovely in a way, but it is fucking scary. Just imagine yourself going, I don't know how fast the rocket goes. What, 10,000 kilometers? I don't know. Who cares? It's just really fast. And just like, if you're tied at on a rope and you're just like, you're seeing all of a sudden the earth from that, that must be very scary. And that's how it's going to be for you. If stuff needs to be cut, stuff needs to be eliminated, because we're all being pushed towards, and it's your choice. It's always a choice. It's not a given. It's not about, astrology tells you, hey, this is going to happen. No, we have to have our own choice in this, and we have to apply will. It is through us that the divine can experience itself, and we have to act. We have to worship, have faith, devote ourselves towards it, so that it can, because that act of devotion activates the whole source energy to flow through you. And you're never really disconnected from it, but you can't ignore it, is what I'm saying. And then you hurt yourself. So this is about this is an expansive view. This is about really knowing and trusting, putting our faith in a higher order and not get caught up in the material matters of it all. That's where these emotions, with a solar eclipse in Cancer, emotions run really high. But emotions are just a feedback mechanism to learn the lesson. And if we can stay neutral and really have devotion for a love for God, source, universe, and a higher power, and what we put out is what we will get back. If we do that from devotion and love for a neutral, that whatever happens for the bigger good. So anyway, I feel like I'm gonna ramble more, and that's not the idea. The idea is that we really listen this week. We really focus, and we really do the preparatory work, if we can call it work. But it's really about listening, and it's really about, your work is devotion. Your work is faith in a better world, faith in the incarnation of the soul, a collective soul, where we go towards the positive direction, in our point of view at least. Thank you so much. Leave me a comment, leave me a like, share this video with someone that needs to see this. Thank you so much. Bye bye, see you next week.